Even though I sent Crystal the picture this morning, said, but it's fine, everything's just.
I was just like, you're ready. Love it.
A few more minutes. Thank you all. We're just waiting on a few more minutes to get all of our technical support. Awesome, wherever you need to.
She said from the right to the left and now. And I mean, you actually shifted your pen here, but I try every day to do my best. This is why I purposely do it. So, you see what I'm saying? That's every morning.
I need about 50 pins on putting on the jacket already.
Oh, no worries.
We're good.
You're good. All right. Media partners, is everyone's mic set up? Good? Fantastic. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I know I speak on behalf of our district leadership team, our educators, our students. We are so excited and ready for the first day of school on August 13th. In a few moments, I'll be introducing Oklahoma City's Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Jamie Polk, to the mic. We do have a few key speakers here. To our media partners, we will have an open Q&A at the end of this session. So we will be calling on stations one question at its, or other news organizations, one station, one question at a time. We do have a full panel of experts here that can answer specific questions. So please give them a few moments as they transition between here, where they're sitting, and the mic. Without further ado, I introduce Dr. Jamie Polk.
Before I go into what I have here, I want to say a very special thank you to Kylie. You have taken this and you're rocking it. So thank you to Kylie and the communications team. I see your leadership and I thank you. Welcome everyone. First, I want to take a moment and thank our media for being here and being positive in regards of the stories that have been running since I came on board. Please note, we know as a community it takes all of us, and the angles and the way in which you're reporting, from my heart to yours, I say thank you. Not that anything was different or wrong, but I noticed in regards of. Also, I'd like to say recently I was at an event. Now this is all on the side here. I'm just giving, I won't charge you for this information, but this is real important. I was at a media event and I was asked to do some comments. And I was like, ugh. Oklahoma City Public Schools has a protocol. Even if it's the superintendent, principal supervisors, any director or such, we must go through our communications department, just so that they're aware. And that recently happened, and I didn't have my communications department around, but I did say, if you all want to keep having stories, I'm going to need to follow protocol in regards of, and there was a reporter in the room that said, yes, that's OKCPS's protocol. That stuck with me, and I say thank you, because we want to tell the story, but I don't ever want you to think I don't. But I do also have protocols, and I just want a special thank you for when others can recognize how we do business and respect that. I have to take a moment and say thank you. All right, here we go. Public education, and anyone who knows me knows the importance of community. Even on the ride over, when we were talking about I am OKCPS, it was shared that I am community. We recently had back to school bashes, and anyone in the city could come and be a part of. It wasn't if you were an OKCPS student, you just had to be a student and you were taken care of. That's what community is. And so I want to take a moment and say that when we say everyone is welcome, we mean everyone is welcome. We are excited to start. This is year 136 for us. So we have been an organized district even before statehood. And so as we go along and you say, are you ready? We stay ready. We've been doing this now 136 years, and we're excited. We're excited that we took time this year to do fifth grade flyover. That was where our parents could actually come in our buildings and walk students through so that they could feel comfortable. Very first time ever, under the leadership of Dr. Hinton, we had a fresh start, first start for our pre-K families to actually come in and walk the halls before school starts. So families could actually know and see where their students would be during the day. Please note, safety is first and foremost for OKCPS. And so when our staff put that extra effort in to ensure our students feel comfortable, our families know their babies are safe, that's how we know we're first day ready. And so with August 13th being this Wednesday, we're ready. And we are proud to even say that we're just about 92% enrolled. And you say, so what? Why is that a big deal? Well, when students know where they should be, important, but teachers can prepare for students. And we all know the importance of someone know that you're coming and that they can be received at the door so that their name can be called day one. When we talk about name and need, it truly starts before day one, is in regards of how we prepare and get ready for our students to come. I'm excited. This is year 2 for me as superintendent, and I don't take it lightly. However, every moment is a teachable moment or a leadership moment where we can say, hey, this is how we can do it better. Hey, this is the OKCPS way to do this. You'll notice and you'll hear me laugh and talk about the bird. But that branding is important. That is who we are. We are OKCPS, and I'm excited about that. And so Kylie, if she doesn't get in trouble, I'm going to read my paper now. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. So I have that I also need to share in regards of the First Choice Online Academy. We are doing virtual learning a little different. Not that anything was wrong previously, but we did. After listening to our parents, they said their student needed a better connection to their home school, meaning they could now participate in athletics or fine arts. They now have a school where they can be connected with, as well as a flexible schedule. We have students who are working before and after school, so we can accommodate that with our online First Choice Academy. This isn't necessarily if you need to recover a credit, this is so that you can be an individual student and us take care of that child with mentors and teachers and all that will be available for them. Also, as I spoke about the pre-K, we still have slots available, full day, half a day, how you choose in regards for your pre-K student. We are ready to receive. We just ask that you go to the site for enrollment in order for us to be ready. We still have 2 days left in regards of. I'm looking forward to an exciting school year where our board has set our goals. First time ever. And those goals we will actually be letting everyone in on because we will report out monthly in regards of our progress. We won't wait till the end of the year. We will monthly report out on different aspects of the goals, so then that way we're being as transparent as we can with our community in regards of the work that we're doing. Special thank you to teachers this summer who did science of reading training with no pay. That says a lot when on their first available week summer break, they chose professional development. We are doing what we can to be the best we can be. And so I just want to pitch it over to Kylie and allow the others to speak. How did I do?
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You got all those points. This is
Okay.
amazing.
Okay. I was trying to get some points, and I think I got them. Kylie, no, you're phenomenal.
Thank you, Dr. Polk. We've had several inquiries over the summer about Bell to Bell, which is new, not just for Oklahoma City Public Schools, but every district in the state. We have our general counselor, Tony Childers, here to answer a few questions or provide a few statements about what that is going to look like here for Oklahoma City Public Schools. Without further ado, General Counsel Tony Childers.
Thank you, Kylie. Another key initiative that Oklahoma City Public Schools is instituting this year is the implementation of Senate Bill 139. That was legislation that was passed this last spring that applies to student cell phone use during the school day. Oklahoma City Board of Education passed policy F25 to implement that law. And our policy is pretty much in line with exactly what the law requires, and that being that students are not allowed to use personal electronic devices during the school day. That being defined as the start of that first class to the bell that marks the end of the last class. So throughout the school day, passing periods, lunch periods, personal electronic devices, which include cell phones, smartwatches, AirPods, other devices that can connect to the internet or connect to a phone, cannot be used. Now, there are exceptions that are built in for emergency situations, for use by students if there's a medical need, or if there's some other disability where a phone might be necessary. But our policy implements what the law requires. We are working with our families, working with our administrators to have conversations about what does implementation look like. But beyond that, what does implementation look like for ensuing years? So for the first year, schools across the state are required to have this policy in place. But starting next year, schools are able to make that choice of how will the policy be implemented. And as doing that, we are wanting to track what is the impact on our students? What is the impact in the classroom? What is the advantage that we're seeing for our students so that when we come next year to look at what the policy might look like for Oklahoma City Public Schools, we can make an informed decision based on what we're hearing from our families, from our educators, and what we're seeing in the data.
Will you do a mic check? Because this squeaks quite a bit. I would sure hate. Are they okay with their mics?
Are our stations fine with our sound?
Yeah. it does.
Thank you.
Try not to
Make
touch
sure. You're good. We'll keep our hands off. Thank you, Tony.
All right, thank you.
Next up to the mic, we're going to introduce our OKCPS Director of Security, Waylon Cupid.
Good morning. Safety and security at OKCPS remains top priority. In fact, I'm sure you all will agree that we want our schools to be the safest place on earth. And with that being said, we are upgrading our front desk with new technology at all our schools and equipment. Visitors will now use iPads to check in, speeding up the process while maintaining a high security posture. Entrances will now have, and they already have, doorbell cameras equipped with intercoms so that our office staff can engage with people before gaining access to our buildings. And we'll roll this technology out slowly throughout the district throughout the year. This helps create a more standardized visitor check-in process and creates an additional layer of security that makes me really, really happy. OKCPS also will continue to work closely with our law enforcement partners. We will continue to coordinate our responses to security incidents and work with them to go closely with best practices and training. OKCPS, all of our staff here at OKCPS are trained on the emergency response I love you guys protocols. So we are very familiar on how to evacuate, how to do lockdowns, and how to do those drills so that our students are informed on how we operate. Other than that, we will remain the safest place on earth.
Thank you, Leland. And finally, our last speaker before we open Q&A, I have our Assistant Superintendent of Talent Management, Mr. Brad Hersher, to speak about staffing updates for the upcoming school year.
Well, good morning. As of this morning, we are over 98% staffed. We currently have around 53 vacancies across the district, 37 classroom vacancies, around 10 special education vacancies. So really that's the lowest number in my tenure with talent management, human resources. So we feel very confident that our students will be prepared with a quality teacher in every classroom. So we look forward to Wednesday and welcoming our students. So.
Thank you, Mr. Hersher. We are going to be opening up questions and answers. We are already going to be calling stations and organizations one at a time, one question at a time. I'm going to start with KOFR. Fantastic. We have Mr. Jason Galloway, our Chief of Staff, to speak.
Thank you for that question. It was about Friday at 9 o'clock when the memo came out from the State Department that they would be doing away with the OSTP for reading and math, grades 3 through 8. I would say we currently lack context for what that means exactly for us at this time, so we are gaining information, really seeing what that could look like for OKCPS and for all public schools at large throughout the state. But I'd say it's a little too early to know, and so we're currently kind of waiting to take in more information to see what that reality could be for us. We are confident in our local assessment strategy, that we feel confident that we can pivot and be successful with any change that would come about. But I would say for us, we haven't had a lot of time internally to really talk strategy because we do lack context. But as that context comes in, we'll have some more strategic conversations. But due to the timing, we have students coming back in about 48 hours. And so that is priority for us at this time. And as more information comes in, we'll be ready to pivot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you kind of talked about it a little bit, but given that the state superintendent doesn't have the authority to make that on his own, and the State Board of Education and the legislature still has to weigh in, how long can you all go knowing that you have to test at the end of the year? I mean, what's kind of like the hard line on dates or something to be clear?
Well, I think it depends, depending on how that context shakes out. So if it is per the memo, if it does come through, then it speaks to local benchmarks. no cell. There you go, right? So depending on if it does come to fruition, what does that benchmarking strategy look like is a real question. What benchmarks would be allowed? If that benchmark happens to be one that we already use internally, we already benchmark multiple times a year. So if that was a strategy that was allowable, then we would be able to pivot pretty quickly. So to answer your question, it depends on what the actual metric would be. I would say that mid-year for us, the sooner the better. We like as much runway as we can get when we have to make strategic pivots, because we do know that it will have an impact on teachers in the classroom, principals in buildings, and so we want our strategies to be as predictable as possible. So the sooner the better for us always, but we can pivot pretty quickly if we need to.
OEPA, and I know you kind of talked a little bit earlier about implementing the bill policy now that it's passed into law. How do you think students are going to react, or how do you think they're going to handle not being able to have that facility class?
Take that one too?
Tony, you have been our champion bell to bell.
You want?
So part of our early conversations included both students and parents. And I don't think that there is any doubt that it'll be a challenge for students in the beginning to change what they're used to having, something that's in their pocket that they always have access to. So I think it'll be a challenge for students, but we also think it's going to be beneficial for students. We think it'll help us refocus in the classroom, for students to stay focused on what's important without being too distracted by devices, while at the same time having access to school devices that they need as a necessary part of their education. So I think there will be a struggle a bit, but we're all in this together. It's something that schools across the state are all implementing at the same time, but we believe that it is something that's going to be to the benefit of our students.
Can I add one little piece? Just for a teachable moment here, I told you I'm always on. As families, work on the phone number. We have so relied on these devices for our directory. I personally probably know 3 phone numbers. But as a child, I could tell you everyone in the neighborhood's phone number. So let's don't just assume our kids know the phone numbers to someone as well as their house address. And so we can use these next few days to ensure families, not only where's your rally point for safety, but what's the phone numbers that they need to know as well as their house address. All of those things are now locked in your cell phone, so I would want to ensure a child could tell me a phone number.
Sophia, box 25? How will the schools, specifically teachers, make sure that this policy is enforced and make sure, kids aren't sneakily using their phones in bathrooms or hidden in libraries behind books? 'Cause I went to a school where phones were not allowed, smart watches were not allowed, and kids just got creative on how to use them. So how will that be enforced?
Students are certainly creative, but that's also something that teachers and educators are used to working with. So there will, again, be those challenges for the implementation, particularly I would imagine in the first few weeks of school. But I think what's really important is setting expectations for students, not just at the school site for what schools are asking students to do, but for families as well. So that's why we're asking that families have these conversations with their students as well. Be aware of what the law requires. Know that this is something that every school is implementing, but really it's going to take teamwork between the school and with parents as always, which is essential to a student's education. So there will be those challenges, but we will work within our framework to make sure that the policy is being applied equally and equitably across our school sites so that we see equal implementation and we're not seeing different implementation at different school sites. But I think that answers the question.
Thank you, Tony. Francisco, News 5? Any questions? News 9?
Have tariffs impacted any of your, like, I see you have some construction going on and just repairs or new construction?
Ms. Deborah Deck, I'm going to have you come to the mic.
Good morning. I'm Deborah Deck. I'm the interim COO, and we have been lucky that our bond passed in 2022. So the majority of our bids came in before the tariff became an issue. Yes, we have seen some increase on cost, but we are within our bond.
Maria?
So, question for whoever wants to answer, what feedback have you all gotten from students and families so far on the self-taught policy? What have they said?
So one of the things we strongly believe in OKCPS is feedback loops. So we have a superintendent's leadership council that's made up of our students. One of our students is in the room with us today, Amasha, but they're a part of that. So we will meet with them periodically to get feedback from them around what's working and what's not working, and where do we need to consider what needs to be added or changed as we look to creating our own policy moving into next year. So far nothing, because we haven't started. They were invited to the table when we had a learning lab of principals that gathered this summer to talk about what our tiered response is going to be, or so what is our response going to be when we find that a student has a cell phone out within the school day. So there was an opportunity, but of course it was summer. So grateful that they weren't in the space at that time, because they should be off enjoying summer. But we'll be super intentional about ensuring that their voice is captured when we check in within probably the first 45 days of school to talk about what are the barriers that our administrators are facing, what are the barriers or the challenges that teachers are facing that we didn't think about in the beginning, and what is the student experience like. Oh, yeah, hi. Alicia Seffield, I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Achievement and Accountability.
Thank you. News 4, I'm going to pass it back over to you. Will federal immigration acceptance be allowed to
So Oklahoma City Public Schools will work within the framework of what the law allows for when law enforcement show up to the front door asking for information on students. The thing that's important to remember is that federal law, Oklahoma law, protects student information to a certain level. So that information would remain to be protected as we're required to do, but we otherwise will follow our general policies that we have in place and that we've had in place for a while on how do we deal with a request for student information. Is it something that has a legal backing or a requirement where we may be required to respond under law? But otherwise, we'll just follow those policies and laws that we already have in place.
Tony, will you share in regards of how you have prepared all of us in workshops and things of that nature so that this information is at the front desk of our schools?
Certainly. We've had ongoing meetings with our principals, assistant principals, front office staff, security staff, and others throughout the district. So they're aware of what does the law require of Oklahoma City Public Schools when it comes to protecting student information. We want to be sure that our office staff know how to respond in those situations and who to contact. So we've tried to have regular meetings to have those discussions to remind our staff of what those requirements are.
So we just heard that we got down from 49 to 50th. How is OKCPS going to maybe do some procedures so everybody gets the best education?
I've been waiting on this now. Please note, we do understand in regard to that 50th without a doubt. But this is where we're excited in regards of what the goals and guardrails that the board has put in place for Oklahoma City Public Schools. That is in regards of 4th grade literacy. Then we also are looking at numeracy in middle school and then post-secondary for our high school students. But every grade will actually have a report out. And you say, how do we ensure in regards of the 50th? As always, we follow policy and law. And one of the laws will be the Strong Readers Act. that we are bound by and we have continued to do, as well as now the upcoming Strong Math Act. So we have some things in place. And what the board has said to Dr. Polk in regards of accountability, we need to hear the voice. And so that's where that monitoring aspect will come monthly in regards of, and I'm going to tag Galloway in regards of calendar progress monitoring and how that looks and what we are doing to ensure we're a first choice district.
Thank you, Dr. Polk. Through a partnership with the Council of Great City Schools, our Board of Education is engaging in a new governance model around student outcomes-focused governance. And so Dr. Polk referenced three goals, three student outcome goals: proficiency at the 4th grade level, proficiency in reading at the 4th grade level, proficiency in math at the 8th grade level, and 11th and 12th grade completion of a post-secondary opportunity. And so post-secondary opportunities can include successful completion of an advanced placement course, concurrent enrollment with a university, career technical education courses, now including ROTC, JROTC, also work-based internships, so things of that nature to essentially ensure that when our students graduate, they graduate ready. So with that, each of those three goals have three interim goals that are predictive, if met, will help us reach the overall goal. Now, these are 5-year goals, and that's something that's new to not only OKCPS, but it's, in my opinion, I think it's a new governance model that the state hasn't seen before. And so these are long-term goals that is going to allow our school district to get laser focused, to align our resources around each of these goals strategically, and we're going to be able to come together monthly as soon as the board progress monitoring begins, and we're currently in the process of developing a 5-year monitoring calendar where every month we will come and we will report out on one of these interim goals or goals. And so that's 9 interim goals, 3 goals, so for a total of 12 goals that need to be monitored. And when they're going to fall in the monitoring is largely going to depend on when the data is pulled. And so we typically try to have a board monitoring session within 45 to 70 days after the data becomes available, and we will come and present the data to the Board of Education. The board will have dialogue with our staff around progress being made, plans moving forward. And so we're really excited about, one, we hold ourselves accountable to student outcomes, and that's a message I want to make sure that we get out. We exist to advance student outcomes, and that's really centers around what students know and are able to do. And that's our core. And we want to be held accountable to that, and we are going to be looking forward to the dialogue that we have, not only with our board, but the transparency that we have with our community. These are, as you know, public meetings, and so that public dialogue will be available for everybody, and we live stream all of our board meetings. So we're looking forward to the progress that we will be making over the next 5 years. We're confident in that. Thank you.
The Bible mandate is still out there. I know it's been tied up in court, but where are Oklahoma City schools at? I mean, are there Bibles in every classroom? Do you intend to teach from the Bible in classes, given that the case is not resolved yet?
So Oklahoma City Public Schools will continue to teach to the standards that are required in Oklahoma law. That's a requirement that we have to follow. As to the involvement of a Bible or any other religious material, there are certain laws that apply as to what schools can introduce in the classroom or how they introduce that in the classroom. So in terms of what might be required, the Bible's always been available for students in libraries or online for certain assignments if it's something that is appropriate for an assignment within an academic setting. So the district will continue with that same practice, which we believe is already in line with what we're seeing in the standards or what we've seen come from the State Department of Education. And I think it's just important to remember that as a school district, we're here to educate kids, to make sure that they know what they need to know, and we're going to follow the standards to the extent that we're required, but also be sure we're doing that in a legally compliant way.
OECA? Talk 25? I know some parents are worried about the reality of an emergency happening while at school and not getting to contact their kids, but on the flip side, how will schools help kids use or contact their parents if there's an emergency at home, where they're not able to contact and get information from?
To make sure I heard the question was about making sure that students have the ability to be contacted if there's an emergency at home. So Oklahoma City Public Schools has a phone in every classroom. So students will have the ability still to contact their family or to be contacted. It really goes back to probably the days when I was in elementary school, and most of us were in elementary school. If you reach out to the front office, our front office staff will be sure to get a student if there's an emergency situation, to get you in contact with your student, to be sure that that communication remains open. We know that's important for families, and that's why one of those built-in exceptions to our policy is emergency situations if there's an emergency that's occurring at school. But for those that are happening at home, families can always reach out to the school, get a hold of the teacher, get a hold of the principal or the front office, and communication will be connected through the administration.
News 5? News 9?
With AI in, in everybody's life now, what challenges does that present teachers with like homework and?
I think somebody over there.
Maybe one of the educators wants to. AI is certainly something that is, I would say, revolutionized or changed the way we do a lot of things. And that includes the way that students study. So what's important is we as educators, one, we have to learn how to deal with AI to be sure that students are doing work in an ethical and accountable way, but also that they're learning to use those tools appropriately, because those are tools that they are going to use for the rest of their life. Those are tools that we use. So those we shouldn't have an expectation that students wouldn't be allowed to some level to use those tools. But what's important in education is to be sure that we're setting appropriate boundaries for those students, and that we have education plans that are helping students to learn how to look at AI strategically, how to look at AI with a critical eye and not just accept an answer that's given. So it's really about educating kids to use those tools. So we worked earlier this year on a regulation to help guide the use of AI in the school, and that includes having particular tools that will be made available for teachers if they believe it's appropriate for the classroom, but also helping our teachers know that they need to be setting standards in the classroom for what is the expectation for students for a certain assignment, or what is the expectation in the classroom of is AI allowed and to what extent. But really it's going to come down to educators learning how to change. How do we educate, knowing that these tools are available to students? So what do we change in what we do to be sure that students are using it effectively, but they're using it ethically and in a way that continues to allow them to learn?
I have a question on the state assessments and assessments. So with the accountability goals being based on both the state assessments and the benchmark assessments, I'm curious, would the elimination of the state tests be something that you welcome? It's one fewer assessment that you all have to administer that kids have to take. Or is there something that you learn from those state tests that you don't or can't from the benchmark tests? I'm just curious, would this be a welcome change, or would you be losing something there if you don't have to suggest?
That's a great question. I think that there are pros and cons. I think that there are benefits. I mean, there's been a concern in public ed for years around the overassessment of children. We want in our assessment strategy, we want our assessments to be able to give us information. That's when they're the most valuable, that we can make real-time, data-informed decisions to turn around and positively impact student outcomes. When state assessments, and there's positives to the state assessments too. You're talking, you know, criterion referenced, standards aligned assessments that when the reporting is consistent, you can get trend information over time with how children are doing. And high stakes testing is part of academia. You know, students are going to get into you know, 9th grade and take the PSAT, and that's going to you know, they can take the pre, and then they obviously can take it a little bit. Peter, do they take it in 10th grade, PSAT? Yeah, which then starts the national merit process, obviously ACT for college entrance. And so, you know, high stakes tests are part of that. Locally, though, with our internal assessment strategy, let me back up to state assessments. We get results typically in the past several years in July, maybe August, as far as getting summary results. And so, you know, internally, we really refer to that as autopsy data. The learning has already taken place. It's not data that we are using to make real-time instructional decisions. So internally, we have a strong assessment strategy with local common formative assessments, which are broken down to the individual standard. And teachers have access to those across all grade bands in several per learning unit, so they can really pinpoint where is this particular child at in relation to mastering this particular standard. We also have a 3-time-a-year universal screening assessment, which many people are referring to as benchmarks. In Oklahoma City Public Schools, we utilize NWEA MAP growth, which gives us normed data so we can see how our students are doing compared to their peers nationally. And so what we really like about that data is we have the ability to analyze how much is a student growing between a particular period of time, as well as where do they stand in their achievement compared to their peers nationally. And so that's the data that we utilize most readily day in and day out.
We have time for one more question.
No one else has asked about it, but virtual days this year are down, we're down to 2. How do you all handle that with scheduling, particularly in such a large district where you might need a virtual day in one part of town but not in the other?
So the change that we saw this last spring from the legislative session actually goes into effect for next school year, not this current school year. But it is a change that limits our use of virtual school days to 2 and limits it to very specific circumstances, one being that it has to be a day that's been declared an emergency by the governor. So that's not something we can necessarily plan for or know when is going to happen. It does at least give us a little bit of flexibility for those days where we see a major snowstorm or other storm that may otherwise prohibit our students from being at school. So that's something that we are looking at right now for next year, of how is that going to look in terms of, are we going to add additional snow days or additional time to the school day to make sure that we aren't having to change our schedule midway through, but building those opportunities into our schedule otherwise, and then planning around how do we use these limited virtual days to the extent that the law now allows us to.
So we do have a little bit of time left from our scheduled time. Dr. Suffield, I'm going to pull you up to the mic just a moment to plug our pre-K programs. And then I would like to say that we do have our Director of Early Education here that is available for an interview afterwards.
All right. right, Alicia Sutfield again, Assistant Superintendent of Achievement and Accountability. Just want families to know that we don't operate with a lottery or waiting list, that we have plenty of seats available for high-quality, full-day pre-K. So if you didn't get in your local neighborhood school, or your child is currently going to be 4 before September 1st, sitting on a waiting list, we would say don't wait. We would say come and check us out. Let Oklahoma City have an opportunity to serve your family and your earliest learner. We would love to have them. It's easy to get enrolled. You can enroll online or go to any one of our neighborhood schools, and our front office staff will be happy to help your child get connected, and we'd love to see your 4-year-old on September 13th. August 13th. 4 by September 1 on August 13th. Yes.
The same thing.
Yes, yes.
Oh, pardon me. That concludes our conference for today. If you have follow-up questions for any of our expert panelists here, we do ask that you come to myself, my colleague Crystal Raymond right over there, or Tricia Kelch over here on our executive panel. Thank you.
I don't know what's in store for you, Mama, but you are boss.
Well, no, Tricia and Crystal, they
got you prepped.
They
and
got me
ready?
prepped. They prepped. Thank you. I'm gonna let them grab their mics.
Is there anything we want to do with Dr. Hinton?
We're gonna wait for them to come, so she's gonna stay here. She probably doesn't know that I just offered her, but she'll stay right over here. I have to keep my eyes out for a little bit more. Okay.
Did you get what you needed on AI?
Yes, I think so.
We have our teen superintendent who's actually on our district AI committee.
Oh,
And we have a student on our AI committee.
oh, very cool.
She's brilliant.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ben. Very nice to meet you. I guess, could I interview you real quick? Awesome. Thank you.
Good job.